Alright class, it's been a while. Welcome back. This is right after spring break. We're going to start with our conics unit. The first thing we're going to talk about is circles though. You guys should have seen circles in geometry. We're also going to talk about completing the square again today. I know we didn't really touch on that in this fall as much. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the general equation of a circle. So generally a circle equation will be in the form of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared, where the center of the circle is at h comma k, so they're the opposite signs of what you would see, and then the radius is just the square root of r squared, so r is equal to the radius. Alright, that's all you need to know, is you take the opposite signs of x and y, that's your center, and take the square root of the thing on the other side of the equal sign. So, let's take a look at some of these. Here I have a minus 3, which means the center for this circle will be at positive 3, and that's a positive 2, so it'll be at negative 2. The radius is equal to the square root of 9, which is 3. So if I were to sketch this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, the center's right there. And if the radius is 3, that means it goes out 3 in every direction. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then we just draw the circle. And that was not too bad. So there you go. Alright, now if you see no number with the x, you should hopefully assume or realize that that means that this is an x is 0. So the center is at 0 comma 1. And the radius is at the square root of 8, or 2 root 2. Which is a little less than 3, because square root of 9 is 3. So if we were to draw this one, I don't know why the pen changed on me, 0, 1. Then we go about 3, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, almost 3. We're not going to go all the way to 3 though. So a little less than 3, a little less than 3, a little less than 3, and a little less than 3 from that center. So our circle should be about there. Okay, so that is how you graph one. You just grab the numbers from that form. Now sometimes it's not in that form, and we're going to talk about that later with the completing the square, but otherwise that's all you got to do. Now this one's a little different. I'm going to tell you some information and you have to sketch it and then also come up with the equation. I would recommend sketching it first, just because then you know what's going on. A radius of 9. Whoa. That's a lot. Kind of screwed up that. So that's a big circle. Okay, so if the center's at 0, 0, hopefully you guys realize that the equation should be x squared plus y squared, because there's no numbers with them. Equals, remember, this is not r, it's r squared, 9 squared. So that, therefore, the final answer to this equation is that. Now I'm going to mix it up a little bit, make it a little more challenging. I have a center at negative 1, 4, and tangent to the line x equals 3. What the heck does that mean? Well, let's talk about that. So negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's my center. And it's tangent to the line x equals 3. Well, that's a vertical line right there. And all that means is that if I'm at the center, one of the points of the circle is on that line. So from there we can figure out what the radius is. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's telling me that the radius is equal to 4 here. So now I can sketch the rest of this circle. That's already up 4, so that's down. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And if I draw the circle, sure enough, it just touches that line. That's what tangent means. It's touching at the one spot. So, Now we have to come up with the equation. Since there are values for the center, remember you put the opposite sign. So this will be a +1, this will be a -4. If the radius is 4, 4 squared goes here, which is 16. So there's my equation of the circle. Alright, now I'm going to talk about completing the square real quick. So let's say you are given something, and I'm just going to make something up right now. X squared minus 6x. No, I didn't even want to do it that way. Let's start that over. I'm going to say x squared plus y squared, 2y squared. X squared plus 2y squared minus 6x plus, let's do 20y minus 5 equals 0. So we want to complete the square with this. So there's a few steps. The first thing you should do is group like variables. So I'm going to put the x squared and the x together, and I'm going to leave a blank. And then I have plus 2y squared plus 20y, and then leave a blank. And I'm going to then also move numbers over with that don't have variables. So that's going to be equal to 5. Okay. So then, here's the thing. You can only complete this square if the coefficient in front of the x squared is 1. So this one's good to go. This one is not. So the third thing you have to do is factor out lead coefficients. So the next thing that happens is this. We get, we still have this, x squared minus 6x plus blank, plus, and then here's what happens. I take the 2 out, and I'm left with y squared plus 10y plus blank equals 5. Now, everything's set up to complete this square. By the way, this will not be a circle. I'm just showing you 2 examples here. This is not a circle for this one. So the fourth step then is to divide the middle term by 2. And then square it. And that's what you add. That's what you put in the blank. Okay, so if I'm looking at this, I divide -6 by 2, which is 3, squared is plus 9. Here, I divide the 10 by 2, I get 5, squared is plus 25. Now here's where you have to be careful. We have to balance the equation like chemistry. We can't change the equation. So, if I add a plus 9 here, I have to add a plus 9 here. This is where you have to be careful. I have a 25 here, but do you guys see how there's a 2 in front? 2 times 25 is 50. So what I really did was I added 50 to that side. So I have to add 50 to the other side. So then we balance it, and then you write in factored form. So the whole reason we do this is so we can write it in factored form. Because we just made a perfect square trinomial. And usually what it is to write it in factored form is you just need to take what half of the middle term was, which was -3, and this becomes x minus 3 squared, plus 2 times y plus 5 squared equals, and then this becomes 14 plus 50 is 64. So that would be the answer to completing the square. Now again, this is not a circle because we have an extra coefficient there, but that's the process you're going to use to complete the square. Alright, so let's do 2 quick ones, and then we're done. Now with circles, you will never have to pull out, you can divide by a number first to make it easier for yourself. So, for example, here, I don't need to divide anything. I'm just going to group them. So notice I'm moving the 30 over. Okay, so right away, I have no lead coefficient other than 1, so I don't have to factor anything. I can just go right to dividing by 2. So this is negative 2 squared, which is plus 4. This is 6 squared. Remember, you take half of that, and then 36. Which means I need to add a 4 and a 36. So that's a what? 36 plus 4 is 40, minus 30 is 10. So now I can write this in factored form. I get x minus 2 squared plus y plus 6 squared equals, what is that? I just said it, it's 10. So that is a circle equation. You know what? We're not going to graph these because we don't have room. So we're going to just write the information. So the center is at 2 comma negative 6, and the radius, be careful, is equal to the square root of 10. Remember, it's the square root of that number. Alright, so that's how you do that. The last one. Notice how everything is divisible by 6. If you see that everything is divisible by the same number, that means that you can make this a little simpler and you don't have to worry about lead coefficients. So I'm going to rewrite this in correct order. X squared minus, divide that by 6 is 2x. I'm going to do a plus blank. Divide everything here by 6 plus y squared plus 6y plus blank equals, divide that by 6, 6. So I just divided everything by 6, and then I'm going to complete the square. So to complete this square, you divide this by 2, and you get negative 1 squared, which is a positive 1. These numbers should always be positive. This is 3, because half of 6 is 3. Squared is 9. Again, none of the circles should have lead coefficients, and if they do, you have to pull that out. So we don't have to worry about anything special like that the one we did. So plus 1 plus 9. Okay, so I end up with x minus 1 squared, because that's what that factors into. Two numbers that multiply to positive 1 and add to negative 2 are negative 1 and negative 1. Y plus 3 squared equals 7 plus 9 is 16. So my center is at 1, negative 3, and my radius is 4. Okay, so that's how you complete the square. Okay, so the rest of this is actually your homework. I decided to put it all into one sheet. Yeah, so again, you should have room to complete the square and graph them for 4 and 5. But that's how you do circles, and that's how you complete the square. I will see you guys next time.